In the previous lecture, we have discussed different examples of waste in Office, and now let's see what actually generates this waste. So when it comes to overproduction, this is mainly caused by lack of proper definition of end product. So what we expect from the teams, and connected to that with the fact that in many cases, you don't verify the work early enough. Another thing that generates the waste related to overproduction is incorrect flow of information and lack of mechanisms to manage the work in progress. When it comes to defects, they are mainly caused by lack of definition of what a quality means and lack of standards, and obviously no control of quality. In some cases, this may be caused by bad training of employees or using not proper tools. You can go even deeper into the main problem. So you may have a different understanding customer needs. Obviously, by customer, we quite often mean the internal customer. So if one department is delivering the product to another department, they quite often don't know what the customer expects. In other words, the department for which they produce the product. And therefore, what they produce quite often is simply not good enough. Now, the transport is mainly caused by bad organization, lack of procedures, and obviously the office layout. To a large extent, also transportation is caused by physical flow of documents. So the physical flow of documents produces a lot of documents that have to be moved from one place to another. Once you get rid of that, you actually reduce drastically the waste related to transportation. Waiting is a very interesting type of waste. And here we can actually have three main types of reasons generating this type of waste. So first of all, complicated procedures, which require you to meet a lot of times, get a lot of signatures. Also work standardization to some extent is related to that. Another big reason is the existence of all sorts of bottlenecks. So if you don't have a sufficient number of conference room, you're simply gonna spend a lot of time waiting for the meeting room to be free. The same goes for your boss. If your boss is a bottleneck and you have to get his signature, obviously you will be spending a lot of time waiting for him. We'll discuss this later on when we will be talking about bottlenecks. And last important thing is the corporate culture. So if your corporate culture doesn't force you to be on time and to have short meetings, then obviously a lot of time will be wasted on waiting. Motion, to a large extent, is generated by bad office layout or bad organization of work. Smaller contribution comes from the fact that you have some common tools that you share, so you have to move them from one place to another. When it comes to inventory, the biggest source of waste is the fact that you may have two small departments. So you may have a situation where in one department we need people, but we don't have them, whereas in the other one we've got available people, but they cannot be moved from this department to the place where they are needed. When it comes to the waste related to projects, obviously this is mainly due to the fact that a lot of projects can be started by anybody, and there is no process of accepting the projects and looking whether we actually can handle them. Overprocessing is generated roughly by the same things as overproduction, so no proper definition of end products and poor understanding of customer needs. We also can have a situation where we have a lot of old or too complicated procedures that nobody actually looked at. So we do things that made a lot of sense 20 years ago, but should be already removed. And since nobody have done it, we still do them. And finally, we've got the untapped potential of employees. And this is caused by a sea of different reasons. So first of all, we may have a situation where there's no job description. So we hire people and those people have skills above what we require. They get frustrated and this causes us to have a lot of waste. Another thing is related to corporate culture. So if we don't define properly goals and there's a lack of trust, we will have problems with the efficiency of the people. Waste related to untapped potential of employees may be also caused by inadequate training and a lack of employee assessment. If we are able to assess employees properly and frequently, then we can catch up the moment when they get frustrated and do something about that. If we don't do that, obviously, we don't have the opportunity to react. So that's in short when it comes to the reasons behind the waste. In short, if you want to remove one of the waste, you'd have to obviously map which thing is causing the biggest share of the waste and obviously create a plan how to remove this reason generating the waste.